Good afternoon. It's Friday and it's kind of late in the day, but it feels nice out. I spent a lot of time writing today, so a little befuddled one becomes by scribbling. This has been a big day, in large part because we have the contradiction between the transparent lies of the former president, Mr. Trump, and then the evidence of how a search was conducted of his home and his getaway spot, Mar-a-Lago in Florida. And we're at a point now where the court released both the search warrant by which one is enabled as an officer of the court to inspect Mar-a-Lago for certain kinds of documents within the purview of certain kinds of charges. The charges in this case, if you want to look them up, are 18 U.S. Code 793, 2071, and that's the last one. The last one's 1519. So if you look those up, you'll get a good sense of what kind of bad conduct the government was looking at. And keep in mind that these allegedly top secret and confidential documents were removed from the White House by Trump at his direction and were kept at Mar-a-Lago. And when it was found out, some documents were returned, and there have been talks to return more that went nowhere. And finally, as you could well appreciate, given the fact that there are top secret documents involved, it became clear that nothing short of a search warrant was going to work, because there wasn't going to be cooperation from Trump. And I know this surprises no one who's observed him over these years. And as a guy who was brought up in New York, I saw him up close and personal over the years when he was becoming the monster, the orange menace that he became. So what were they looking for? Well, among the things that are kind of showstoppers is that the government was looking at the Espionage Act. That's pretty seriously, because so-called lesser offenses can get 10 years. You add obstruction, you can get 20 years. And that you can also bar a person from holding public office. So it's a powerful statute. And it was mentioned as one of the statutes that justified the search. Now, in order to justify the search, it's not just law. It has to have facts of probable cause suggesting one should look into this. And among the documents seized were top secret documents. And this invokes concerns about our national security. Now, it shouldn't surprise us, given that Trump has always been a bull in a china shop, would be in this circumstance. It doesn't encourage us at all. The notion of the webs he weaves to deceive. But this time, he's a little thin on explanation, and whether the nation finds it that way or not, I think the nation will. I think there's a minority of Trump heads who will believe anything he says, whatever he believes, whatever deception or delusion he offers to them. They inhale and repeat with such fervor as to think that these cultists really believe what he's saying. I don't know how they can. Luckily, there are more of us who are not delusional, who operate on normal, rational principles, and can judge the truth of his behavior and taking these documents. Now, it's astonishing to me that some experts on TV are saying things like, well, we don't know exactly who was the subject or the target. Are you kidding me? Who profits from this? Who directed to take these documents? Who else had the authority or power to do it? Where did they go? They went to Trump's home, and he kept them there. Who, through his lawyers, delayed producing what they requested of the documents he had that should have never been there in the first place? And who finally got exhausted and conducted a search of his property and took away boxes and so forth that fit the categories of which they were concerned? Now, there's been talk in recent days that this may have involved nuclear armaments or whatever. We won't know because the general descriptions in the inventory of what was seized doesn't tell us the detail as to what was secret information, top secret information. TSI as the acronym goes. So where do we really stand? We're standing in a place where anybody who would stand with Trump stands against America, stands for traitorism, stands for careless consideration of our national security needs, stands with an amoral man who probably has these documents for no other reason to make funds or to use them against others in order to secure power for himself. In other words, an entire program or plan that contradicts democracy, believes that anything goes, believes that you can seize the government, believes in autocracy and monarchy. And this last bad act of his, forecast by Schiff when he was arguing before the Senate that Trump should be impeached because he will do something else, and he did, of course, even as he's going out the door of the White House. So where do we go from here? What we can do is tell Garland that his resolve is necessary for the democracy. It's necessary to fight those autocrats. It is necessary to protect the agents from the violence that would come because we seek to stop this white supremacist movement, which echoes back to the 1940s when Nazis compromised freedom and put us at a position where our democracy was at risk, and it is again. And we have to do something about it. And we have to stand by Garland now that he seems to have awakened to the significance of this. And I think and I hope that whatever part of him as a young prosecutor exists today, that this conflict the last several days on good terms, on moral terms, on the higher arguments, has caught him so that he persists. But still, none of this matters if at the end of the day we don't cut off the head of the snake. And that's Trump. Nobody else stands in a position that can make the difference that forcing a reckoning of the misconduct on a high criminal, high historic level is not meted out. So that's my thinking for the day. I hope you had a good day, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I'm very happy to celebrate the Cathedral of Trees this day. Bye-bye.